be known for something, you really want to make a difference, stop being like everyone else. Stop folding under pressure. Stop caring what people think about you. Stop conforming to the ways of the world and live this Christian life to the fullest. And I'm not talking about going on a street corner and telling everyone they're going to hell. I'm talking about going on a street corner and telling that homeless man he's loved. I'm talking about sitting with the uncool, overlooked, left out kids at lunch and show them some love. I'm talking about living like someone that has more than this world would ever offer, and you refuse to conform to it. Do you realize you could impact someone's life? Someone's entire life, you could impact them. I tell my youth this all the time. There are kids in your lives, in your schools, who are shown no love by their peers. No attention, nothing. On the contrary, they're picked on. They're put down, they're pushed out. I think back to my high school days, and I could name the dorks, all the outcasts, all the kids we made fun of. And I wish I knew Jesus back then, because I would have had the love to show them. I would have had the hope to give them. I would have had the acceptance by God to not care what other people think about me. And I can only imagine the impact that would have had on their lives. I can only imagine where they would be at today. You don't have to imagine. You can do that right now. You can impact someone's life, their entire life, through Christ.
Oh, y'all come on now, cause we running late. Ooh-wee. Look at all them people. Now, baby, this is a Azusa.
Penny, you forgot your Bible.
Lord, Junior, go back in there and get my Bible. And get that tambourine, too.
Yes, ma'am. Granny, are we late?
No, I believe we just in time. Oh, look at holes in their head. And handkerchiefs, too.
Is Fred Hammond gonna be there?
I believe so. I hear Beverly Crawford gonna be there. Baby, I wouldn't be surprised if Mahalia Jackson got up to come to Azusa. Ooh, listen to that music. Go on, Carter. Now, y'all mind y'all manners, cause we gonna have church tonight.
Yes, ma'am.
Be all right.
Come on, children, let's sing. Come on, children, let's sing. Come on, children, let's sing. Well, now, come on, children, let's sing. Come on, children, let's sing. Come on, children, let's sing. Come on, let's praise him in this house tonight. Give him glory. Yeah. Everybody say yeah. Turn to somebody and say, you don't know like I know what the Lord has done for me. Tell them I get joy when I think about what the Lord has done for me. God has been real good to me. Come on, testify to somebody. Tell them, he's been real good to me. Yeah.
You are drawing me into your presence, to the beauty of your holiness. You are calling me to come and worship, and my answer to your call is yes. I'm coming closer closer to the flame. I can hear your voice as clear as the first day. You say, go back to your first love. Yes, go back to your first love. Go back, return, and let the fires burn again. Go back to your first love. Go back to your first love. Go back, return, and let the fires burn again. I'm reminded of the days of passion when my worship flowed so unrestrained. Remember, like the prodigal, I've learned my lesson, yeah. And I never want to be the same. What's gonna do what you want me to do? I'm coming closer, closer to the flame. I can hear your voice as clear as the first day. You say, go back to your first love. Go back to your first love. Go back, return, and let the fires burn again. Go back to your first. Go back to your first love. Whoa, go back, return, and let the fires burn again. Go back, return. Go back to your first love. Go back to your first love. Go back, return, and let the fires burn again. Go back to your first love. Go back to your first love.
Good afternoon, new season. Good afternoon. Welcome to Yes with Yesse this Thursday afternoon, September 12th. Go back to your first love. First time listening this song, and I love it. Of course, Israel Holton. I love it. So good evening, new season. Thank you everyone for joining Yes with Yesse on this Thursday afternoon. Buenas tardes, buenos días, de donde quiera que nos estén escuchando en esta tarde aquí conmigo. Yes with Yesse. Sí con Yesse. All things community, right? All things community. We share information and resources and what this whole thing is all about, what this thing we call life is all about, and living with differences and needing services, the lack thereof, resources, information, all these different things, and of course awareness, right? That's what it's all about. I'm not a fan of awareness days, but I understand that we still need those awareness days to bring forward awareness information and make sure that no one gets left behind, right? That no one gets left behind, that they know that there is opportunity, there is resources, there is information, there is help, and there's someone that cares. There's many people that care, really, even though sometimes we bury ourselves in our little four walls, in our little cubby and pity party, and no, nobody cares. Yes, people care, people have information, people have resources, people are out there to help you as long as you are willing to accept the help. That's what it's all about, right? To empower, to inform, to educate, and to make sure that you and I understand that we don't have to live this thing called life alone, because it's not what we're meant to do. We're not meant to live this thing called life alone. That's why we have community, right? So, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I had a couple texts of where's Yes with Yesse? Where's Yes with Yesse? So, please share the broadcast as you come on via YouTube and via Facebook and social media. Please share the broadcast. Let others know that we are here on Yes with Yesse. Samara, good evening to you. I know that you are on. Thank you so much for joining. And so share the broadcast, guys. Share the broadcast. Let others know that we're here. Going to go ahead and kick off tonight. Play a song before we get started and set the mood for gozo, just joy in our hearts, joy in our soul, because that's what it's all about. That is how I choose to live this thing called life after so much, right? We go through so many things. Joy, guys. Joy, joy, joy. Nothing is perfect. No day is going to be perfect, but there is a perfect moment in everything and in everything that we do and that we live. And that's what I decide to focus on. Because if I didn't, I wouldn't be here today. And if I didn't, I would be, sad and depressed and crying. And I'm not doing that. So joy, joy, joy. That's what it's all about. So we're going to start with gozo en mi alma, which is joy in my soul, joy in my heart and in my soul. And then we're going to, of course, talk of updates and what's going on. There's a lot of awareness days for disability specific awareness days in this month of September. And then we'll talk a little bit about my experiences in the past, couple days, couple weeks, and what I learned from them and what I hope I can bring forward to you that might be either living with a disability or know someone that is living with a disability or a hardship, not necessarily a disability, just a way of you to be able to relate to information and possible ways to process whatever it is that you are going through. That's what tonight will be all about. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Take this moment to please share the broadcast. Will help Facebook and social media circulate so others know that we are on. Share, copy and paste, turn on that notification bell, let others know that we are here, and then we are going to get started.
Ande conmigo. Yo tengo gozo en mi alma, gozo en mi alma y en mi ser. Son como ríos, ríos de agua viva. Vamos arriba. Yo tengo gozo en mi alma, gozo en mi alma, gozo en mi alma y en mi ser.
Levanta, levanta. That means get up, get up, get up. Y levanta tu bandera. Get up and put up your flag. Just an amazing, just kind of wake up song, you know, and of gospel and of community, and that we are all one no matter what. And you just get up, get up, get up. Raise up your flag. We are all one, regardless of our differences, our disability, cultural background. That's what it's all about. I feel like that's what New Season is all about. That's what I'm all about, which is I love, why I love being here with you guys. So we're gonna go right into it this afternoon. Thank you for those of you that have tuned in as we were playing that song. Sister Diane, good evening. I feel like I haven't seen you in a little bit. Thank you so much for joining. Brother Donovan, good evening. Thank you for joining. And again, please share the broadcast and let others know that we are on here with Yesse on this afternoon, Thursday, September 12th. Time is flying by. So good evening, you guys. We're going to go ahead and talk about just a couple things. I wanted to bring up some awareness days. September is full. I didn't realize how full of awareness days September is, but I wanted to highlight just a few, again, just to bring awareness to these topics, right? That's what it's about for me, is bringing awareness to these particular topics, and, like, you know, just the fact that we know and we understand that they exist, and that we acknowledge, and that we know that we live in this community together, and we never know what the next person might be living or experiencing, or, you know, are going through even, and how, you know, because we are a community, because we are our brothers and sisters keepers, because we are a child of God, we have a responsibility to learn of each other, and be accepting, and see, you know, how can I help? What can I do to make this world a better place? How can I help you, you know, have a better day? What resources can I provide to you? I think that should be and is every single one of our responsibility for each other. So September 23rd through the 29th, which is a little bit later on in the month, it's International Week of the Deaf, which is the hard of hearing. That's the proper terminology, is the deaf, those that cannot hear. That's a whole week of awareness, which I think is a pretty good deal. September 29th is World Heart Day. September 23rd, International Day of Sign Language, which is interesting. A lot of people don't know that is a language. Sign language is a language, just like English is, and Spanish, etc. I love sign language. I am not fluent in sign language, but I do know, you know, a couple signs here and there. I can definitely defend myself. When I first started in the disability world, I actually used to work with a large group of those that are deaf, and we used to go to social activities, bowling, and movie nights, or those kind of things, and I would interact with them. I would communicate with them. I would sometimes, to be honest with you, make up my own sign language, and they understood. And then when I was no longer with them, they were like, "Where's Jesse?" Because it was so much fun, and I connected with them in that way. So that was always pretty fun. September 10th, which just passed, World Suicide Prevention Day. That's definitely a big one, and it's crazy. The numbers, they just keep going high when it comes to suicide, especially. I don't want to say especially, but also including in the lives of individuals with disabilities, due to isolation, lack of care, lack of support, lack of community. So that is something that definitely is important to always raise awareness to, the number of suicide on not just World Suicide Prevention Day as it was on the 10th, but every single day. There's also color blindness awareness, World Cerebral Palsy Awareness Day in this month. Just so many things that kind of, you know, these announcements of these awareness days flood social media. So if you follow me on social media, you'll see me sharing and sharing and sharing all these awareness days information and so on. If you don't follow me on social media, please do so. Yes with Yesse, the @ at Yes with Yesse across social media, and I will definitely follow you back. That's on Facebook, Instagram, you name it. Yes with Yesse. That's what it's all about. So you'll see me share about this information as well. Something cool that I was reading on the news when it pertains to services. The world of services right now is not looking very good as it pertains to budget, and the correlation between budget and services needed for individuals with developmental disabilities. That's literally the world that I am in every single day. So I get to just observe and learn and meet and etc. The budget is not very good, not very good looking. There's not a lot of budget to provide services and so much more. However, I think Iowa might be getting it right. I don't know how I feel about it 110% yet, but Iowa might be getting it right because they are providing remote monitoring, big word, remote monitoring, okay, which is virtual monitoring in a sense, which allows those with intellectual disabilities, which is learning disabilities, anything that has to do cognitive with the brain, to basically be more independent, to spread their wings. Because in Iowa, for people that cannot, or that require, rather, people that require around the clock care, but they still may be at risk of a fall or something like that, there is a way where virtually somebody can monitor them. So again, it's for people that maybe do not require 24-hour care, but they do need to be monitored in case they fall, whether it's in the shower, whether it's in the kitchen, minor things, right? So that could even pertain to me, to be honest with you, because I don't need 24-hour care. I don't need somebody there 24/7. But who doesn't need to, have someone close that, hey, you okay? Or hey, I need help, right? So I think that's pretty cool, and I think that should expand beyond Iowa, because I think what that allows is for us as individuals with developmental disabilities is to remain in our homes setting versus be isolated, if you will, or be forced into a nursing home setting or a assisted living facility or a group home setting, right? Great to have all those options, but I definitely believe in the least restrictive environment and the most independent possible while having supports in my own home, in the comfort of my own home. I think that's like the best, my ideal world for individuals with disabilities would be that, right? Supports, community in your own home. So I think that kind of service definitely does allow for that opportunity, and I would definitely advocate for that to move here to Florida, and for Florida to allocate funding from our budgets as recipients of these waiver services and Medicaid and all these different things, to give us more funding towards services that allow us to stay in our home with supports and monitoring. You're not monitoring 24/7, but you are there in case of an emergency, in case I need something, right? Nobody is excluded from a potential slip and fall, or I can't carry this thing, it's so it's so heavy, or I can't carry in all this grocery because it's too much, it's too heavy, and I can't go back and forth and I might fall. All those different experiences that I potentially can experience myself and actually do, we can definitely use those supports without having someone there 24/7. Right? It's kind of like, yeah, wishful thinking, right? Well, they're doing it, so why can't we? So Florida, get it together. Let's advocate for that. And so it would also be perfect for the workforce shortage, right? Because unfortunately, in the world of services and service providers, there's a huge shortage of personal care support staff, companions, like people. There's not enough money, and they don't get paid enough to do what they do. They're pretty amazing, and they do a whole lot, and the budget's not. It's just not there. So in order to kind of replace the lack of staff, this would be an awesome opportunity for remote monitoring of of services for individuals with developmental disabilities. I think that's pretty cool. I would definitely advocate for that, and I think that would help those that need it a whole lot more because of the lack of services that we have right now, and the shortage of staff and shortage of budget with the state of Florida here specifically. So that's pretty cool. That's that's what I experience on a day-to-day when it pertains to the adult day training centers and what I do during the day, and with my disability programs and training, definitely get to experience the shortages and what we can do to make those better and increase funding in the state of Florida to make sure that we as people with disabilities and the elderly actually continue to receive in-home support services, which is very, very important. So good evening, Brother Donovan. Good evening. And Brother Percy, good evening. Thank you for joining Yes with Yesse. Appreciate you all for joining. Please share the broadcast and let others know that we are here on Yes with Yesse. Say hello if you're on. I see you on, but say hello. I'd love to see who is on with me this afternoon here on Yes with Yesse. As we just talked about awareness days and hi, Miss Avery. As we talked about awareness days and what we advocate for, myself and so many others, not just through my disability programs and training, but as well as opportunities that I have had to advocate in Tallahassee and with other organizations and coworkers and all that good stuff. We talked about awareness days and this new thing called remote monitoring, which will provide services in Iowa, though, not in Florida, services for individuals with developmental and intellectual disabilities to be able to stay at home with the minimal supports that they need in place when they need it, versus having someone there with them 24/7 or them having to go outside of the home, like a group home or a long-term care facility to obtain these services. So I think that's pretty cool. So I want to share with you guys a story. There's a story. I want to share a story of something that happened actually just very recently. Is someone that I know, a young man that I know for a long, long time. He's been a part of my events. He's DJ'd my events and all that. And he does have multiple diagnoses of intellectual disability and hydrocephalus, which is fluid to the brain. And super duper high functioning. He does a lot for himself. He's now working. He loves going to the gym. He's a gym fan. He very well-rounded young man, but he does have a disability of intellectual disability and hydrocephalus. So mom and I got to talking, and mom's, I'm just looking for services for my son, and I don't know what to do. And there's just things that I just want him to have friends. I want him to, get out of the house. He doesn't want to get out of the house. And we're talking about basically his the social aspect of his life and how that's kind of become an issue because he's become isolated. He just wants nothing to do with anyone, right? And part of that is he doesn't like to interact with others with disabilities. He knows that he has his disability, but he doesn't like to interact with others that have a disability, regardless of that disability. I was fortunate that he was okay with interacting with me and Funclusion and previous events. He DJ'd and all that, so that was cool. But that's just his thing. Like, I don't want other friends, with disabilities. And that could be a number of reasons. One, it could be denial. Maybe he's in denial of his own disability, right? Or he just doesn't want to, right? Because he's super high functioning. You look at him, and it doesn't. He doesn't quote unquote look. Not that you're supposed to look like you have a disability, but you wouldn't know that he has a disability unless you get to know him. So I go, okay. So mom's like, what can we do? And so we're setting goals. We're talking and we're setting goals. All right, mom, what would you want him to do? And mom's like, I don't know. And then she gets to thinking, and she's like, well, maybe he can start by, goal number one, maybe he can start by doing something in the kitchen, whatever it is, right? And then she's like, all right, goal number two, maybe he can go out once a week. And I go, all right, mom, is the social part of him, he just started working. He recently started working. And I'm like, okay, so he's pretty independent to the best of his ability. He's working. He recently got a part-time job. He's working. He's getting his benefits. He interacts with them as family. He has a younger sister, so that's a thing. All right. So is the only concern, if you will, right now, his lack of social ability? or his lack of ability to have friends or want to even have friends. Like, is that what it is right now? And she's like, yeah, pretty much. I'm like, all right. So it was interesting to me because I'm like, I would be concerned as well for the fact that, he doesn't want to be social, he doesn't want to go out, he doesn't have friends, he might be lonely, he doesn't want to talk to anybody. But at the end of the day, he does have his diagnosis of an intellectual disability and hydrocephalus that we know of, right? And so I'm like, okay, Mom, this is like literally us that day. I said, I think, of course, the social aspect is something to be concerned about, or, the lack of social interaction. However, as I was mentioning to her, excuse me, I says, is that the biggest concern right now? Because he's working, he's receiving his benefits, he's responsible, he's safe. And she's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. So I started to thinking, and we talked about it, and I said, I'm thinking, I think we put a little too much pressure sometimes in ourselves. Number one, myself as a person with a disability, and then in our children as parents, to be social, to be like us, right? To be like us, like we're quote unquote supposed to be, like our family dynamic or like our community is, right? What does that even mean? To be like us, or to, it's kind of like to reach an expectation, right? So I'm like, okay, let's try not to pressure him to be social and to have friends and to, because maybe that's not his thing. Maybe he's not comfortable in that environment, and that's very possible. So let's start slow. And that's when we were like, all right, let's start slow and see if he can make plans to be social, to go out once a month. He likes going to the gym, find a fitness club, something like that. Just throwing ideas out there at the time, right? And so I started to thinking and just, reevaluating and everything. And sometimes parents' viewpoints or point of view on us as and our disability, or the viewpoint of that disability, or whatever the case may be, sometimes the parent's viewpoint can have a significant impact on the child or on us as the person with a disability, right? Because I'm like, all right, Mom, if the only concern is the fact that he lacks social skills or social ability, I mean, okay, so does a lot of other people, right? So do a lot of other people that don't have the other diagnosis that he has. So imagine living in a world where you have these multiple diagnoses. You're not social naturally for whatever reason. You are an older brother. But you have your disabilities, so you've always kind of been like the younger brother, because you've always needed the younger you've always needed more attention and all that, and you have a sibling, and so he gives a lot of priority to his younger sibling. Maybe it's due to a lack of self. It's kind of like a lack of self acknowledgement, right? Self acknowledgement, like, oh well, I'm the one with the disability, so let my sister do this or do that, or sit in the front or of the seat, for example, or do things that he should do as an older brother, right? He doesn't I don't think he sees himself as the older brother because of all the need that he has had. And that happens to me with my younger sister, right? Because yes, I'm older than her, but a lot of times she'll be like, go first, go over in front of me, as if she has to watch me and make sure that I'm okay and that I'm safe. And I'll be like, no, you go first. I'm your older sister. Put some respect on my name, and I'm the one that has to look over you, right? So we do battle those things of, yes, I'm the older sibling, but at the end of the day, I am the one that has those extra needs and disabilities and might need more support. So my question then to her is, how can we help him to totally, to work on totally embracing who he is, and that disability that is a part of him, and making him understand that it's a part of you, but it doesn't define who you are, as I always say, right? So that was an awesome conversation, and mom's and kind of like a self-discovery for Mom of like, oh man, I've been doing ABC, and maybe that wasn't being so helpful for him and his acknowledgement and acceptance of himself. And so it is a teamwork. It's like, all right, mom, well, yeah, your mom, but he's 30 something years old. Like, we gotta change a couple things, right? So it was an awesome meeting because it was a self-awareness and goal setting for mom, just as it was for her son, to work together to better assist him in becoming the best version of himself as a now young adult with a developmental disability. So, as I said earlier, a parent's point of view can have a significant impact on a child or young adult with a disability, as it is for this young man. And perhaps that conversation of what that viewpoint is has not been had between mom and son, or, as I experienced myself as well to a point. And so I want to talk about just very briefly on that point. What, how can a parent and how can a parent's point of view, mindset, attitude, all of those things impact and have a significant impact on a child or a young adult with a disability? So the first thing is parenting style. Knowing, and this is for moms out there, moms, dads, caregivers, that have a child or a young adult living in the home with a disability. This is for you. And if it's not for you, share the broadcast with someone that comes to mind that can use these tips on how to just kind of strengthen your parenting skills as it pertains to parenting someone with a disability, and in increasing your positivity in your viewpoint on disability, because the more positive of a point of view you have on disability, the more positive we as your son and daughter feel that you have a positive outlook on us as your child, because at the end of the day, that disability is a part of us. It doesn't identify me, but it is a part of me. And that's what I need this young man to understand as well, that it doesn't define him, that disability does not define him or his value as a person and as a son, but it is a part of him. So parents, parenting style, you can definitely help to reduce the negativity of your child's point of view on the disability. So how can we do that? Positive affirmations. Positive affirmations, like, you can do it, just seeing the ability and not focusing on that disability. Listening. I know that a lot of times we don't open up to our parents, right? So if you feel, well, they don't listen to me, find somebody that they will listen to, and will be able to talk to, and connect them so that they can listen and be heard. We have a voice. We all do. And we all want to be heard. And sometimes we close ourselves because we feel nobody's going to understand. We close ourselves because we think, oh, well, your mom or your dad, you don't understand, or, things like that. So find a neutral person that that they would be open to speaking to. I offered myself to speak to this person, as I have before, but thinking about it, I have a disability myself. So maybe he will be open to listening to me. Maybe he won't. Who knows, right? But I definitely will still try to talk to him from my perspective as living with a disability. So your parenting style, positiveness, reinforcement, affirmations, listening, all of that is definitely important. Self-concept. You can help shape a child's self-concept, which can affect how they view themselves. That is so important. So important, because it is kind of our responsibility, right? And you can help shape a child's self-concept by your behavior, by what you say, by your behavior, by who you bring them around, by exposing them. When I say exposing them to new opportunities, and going with them to different events, activities, making it a day out, a mom and me, in a sense, going out with, make it a date, expose them to things that you want them to kind of discover in themselves, right? Excuse me. Exposing them to things that you want them to be exposed to, and kind of figure in themselves, positive things, right? So I told the mom, I'm like, when was the last time that you and him just went to hang out together as mother and son? Oh, I don't remember. It was a long time ago. Things like that. So spend time, quality time, do things together, right? So to change the self concept that that person has on themselves. For me, I kind of soaked myself in all things disability. I started going to political events and activities and, going to events and things where known people were, from performers to all these different things. And that just definitely gave me a sense of community, a sense of belonging, a sense of, yeah, I'm just like them. We're all here, right? So exposing is definitely a thing. Exposing specifically to the point of view that you would want your son or daughter, or yourself, even like me, to view yourself as. Attitude towards others is your attitude towards yourself. Attitude towards others is your attitude towards yourself. That is to say that if you do not have a positive attitude towards yourself, you more than likely don't have a positive attitude towards others that look like you, that represent you in a sense. And so I think that is definitely important. Attitude towards others is your attitude of yourself. So if somebody is saying, I don't want to be friends with people with disabilities, right? I don't want to be friends with people with disabilities because I don't have a disability and I'm not like them. Let's just say. That to me is screaming denial. Denial of myself, denial of my disability, whatever that is, because I don't want to be around others with disabilities. So I'm ashamed. Shame, denial, fear, right? And so it has nothing to do, the person's inability to make friends, to socialize, has nothing to do with, let's say, the other people or the parents or whatever the case may be, and everything to do with self. You're not okay with your disability. You're not acknowledging your diagnosis. You're not in a positive mindset with all of that. So therefore, you don't have the ability at this very moment to embrace community, to embrace others with disabilities, and to make friends. And so there's a lot of work that needs to be done with that person before they're going to be even okay with going somewhere, right? And that has to do because we tend to focus on what we cannot do, on our disability, what we can't do, what we wish we could do, what we should have done, shoulda, coulda, woulda. And that's us. But we have ourselves, as we internalize those things, which does not give us the ability or the opportunity to socialize, make friends, and get out there in community and all of that. So there's a lot of internal work that needs to be done before someone with a disability and that specific mindset can go out and make friends. Because again, we're talking about a parent's viewpoint or point of view can have a significant impact on a child with a disability, and how we can, as parents and caregivers, be a positive light on that person with a disability. The last point was attitude towards others is your attitude towards yourself. Attitude towards others is an attitude that you have towards yourself, and that is something that perhaps we don't talk about. We don't talk about that internally with family, with parents, etc. And maybe that is a conversation that does need to be had if you feel like someone doesn't want to socialize, or they don't want to be in community, or they're in their room. Well, why? How are you feeling? How are you feeling, about this particular situation? How do you feel about your diagnosis? How do you feel about the fact that maybe you can't do XYZ? Literally have those conversations. Ask those questions. Like, I welcome questions all the time. Kids and even teens, come up to me all the time with questions. Miss Jessie, why do you walk like that? Miss Jessie, why do you have a cane? And then others come with, I live with this situation. What can I do about it? And they have some kind of disability. I love when they ask questions. So asking questions is okay, and definitely encourage. Ask questions. Another point is the reaction to diagnosis. We talked about that a little bit. Reaction to diagnosis. Your reaction of diagnosis will shape your. So, as a mom and as a dad, as a caregiver, the way that you react to a diagnosis, they will react. So, reaction to diagnosis, your reaction of a diagnosis will shape your son or your daughter's reaction to their diagnosis or to their disability. That's my favorite one. That's my favorite one, actually. Your reaction to your son or your daughter's diagnosis is going to be their reaction to their own diagnosis. Ooh, Sister Annette. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining. Sister Annette said that people need to get into the habit of recognizing the individual first and then the disability. Mic drop, right there. Amazing. Absolutely. Person first, disability second. I talk about that all the time. I'm a huge fan of that. And even as parents, recognizing your child as the human, as the person that he or she is first, and then the disability, right? And that's everything. And really, in this particular case, that's what we're doing, right? That's what the family is doing as well, is recognizing this particular individual as a human first. Like, this is what you need to do. I need you to go out. I need you to be social. I need you to live your life. I need you to work. I need you to, to be productive. But his social or lack of social skills doesn't allow him to. And so we're talking about how can parents, or how a parent's point of view can have a significant impact on a child with a disability. We need to normalize saying the child, man, woman with a disability, and not the disabled child, the disabled woman, and the disabled man. Absolutely. And that's what we call person first language. Oh my God, I love this. That's what we call person first language. We do definitely need to get into the habit of that, because you're giving priority and you're giving significance to that person first, right? It's Jesse, and it's Jesse with spina bifida, all right? Jesse with whatever that diagnosis is, but you're acknowledging Jesse as the person first, and the fact that she has a name and an identity, and then the disability. And so it's so interesting, because we talked about all of this with this particular parent, and that's what we have to work on with so many of us, is separating the disability from the person. Like, look, dude, yes, you have these diagnoses, but that doesn't, that's not your label. That's not who you are. It's a part of who you are. And anyone out there with a diagnosis, it's a part of who you are, but it doesn't, it's a part of you, but it doesn't label you. It's not who you are. You're a child of God. You're a woman. You're a man. You have a name. That is who you are, not your diagnosis. Your diagnosis is simply a diagnosis, just that, right? And it's a part of you, and it's not something that we should push under the rug, because it's to our advantage to recognize it, to use it for getting services and educational services and scholarships, even, and monies, right? So it's not something that we should just put in the back burner, as we tend to do as a society in different places, but use it to our advantage, or sounds kind of ugly, but use it in a positive way, right? The point of view on disability is so negative that we need to go from that negativity to a positive. Like, yeah, I have spina bifida. I do. But that doesn't mean that I am bedridden. I'm not crippled. I'm not a sin. I'm not less than. I'm none of that. I have spina bifida, and I do things differently, and I need supports, and I need community, and I work, and I have my own corporation, and I go to church, and I'm active, and I'm on Yes with Yesse, and I do events, right? So there's a whole world of Jessie and who she is, regardless, or with that disability included, regardless of what the disability is, but it is a part of me. Because as I said before, if I didn't have this diagnosis, I maybe wouldn't be doing everything that I'm doing now. If I didn't have this diagnosis, maybe I wouldn't be who I am. I wouldn't do the events that I've done. I wouldn't have been on radio stations and television networks as I have. So I'm not mad at it. Like, thanks, God. Thank you for the spina bifida. Thank you for purpose. Right? And so that's attitude, right? It's all about attitude. That's the attitude that I choose to have, embracing that my spina bifida is a part of me. It doesn't determine who I am, it doesn't label me, but it is a part of who I am, and that is okay. Someone else said that we need communities to socialize together, and also etiquette, education, training. Yes, and I breathe for education, etiquette, and training, because I think that in order for us to communicate, to socialize, for communities, as you said, in order for communities to socialize together, we need to learn from each other. We need to learn about each other's different needs, our disabilities, our different abilities, our even cultural differences. The cultural differences on disability is insane. It's a lot, and you can go from A to Z real quick when it comes to the cultural differences on disability. I'll never forget that client that was like, I want to fix my son. I'm like, dude, sir, with all respect, you're not going to fix your son. We can help him, provide services to him, but you're not going to fix it. So coming together in those cultural differences to be like, okay, this is what disability is. This is what we can do to help that person regardless of the disability. Yes, we can pray. Yes, we can ask God for healing. Yes, we can go to the Word of God. Yes, we can do all of that. But in addition, and we should and we need to, right? In addition to that, though, we do need medical care. We need, whether it's counseling, whatever it is, we need to seek that assistance as well and help God out in our process of healing and getting better in whatever it is that we are going through. So just really quick, because we're running out of time, the reaction to your diagnosis is pivotal. And it will shape your son and your daughter's reaction to their disability. Acceptance, right? As we talked just a little bit, acceptance. We have to accept that we are this is who we are. This is a part of us. And because I accept it, I am now willing to accept. Because I accept the diagnosis, I am willing to accept help. I am willing to accept community. I am willing to accept being around others in community that perhaps have my similar disability or others with disabilities. Why? Not because of the people perhaps themselves, but because being connected to those people, you're connected to resources, supports, and all of that. And hey, maybe those people that have those different disabilities are pretty cool people that you want to be friends with and learn from and interact with and laugh with and cry with and all of that good stuff, right? So it might not be so bad to actually interact with others that have disabilities as you might, right? But all of that is important. Again, acceptance, community, and supports is what it's all about. For me, I can tell you community is everything. So when I hear that somebody doesn't want community, they don't want to interact, they don't want to even bother, it's like, oh my gosh, like if they only knew that if they were willing to embrace community now, life will be so much easier later on in life for them. Right, that's what I learned. So I encourage you today, if you're going through something like that, if you're, you're a parent. I believe that disability is different. It is different. It is different from person to person, and it's different culture to culture. Right, it's very different. But I encourage you just to learn. Right, we fear what we don't know. We fear out of ignorance. We isolate out of fear. It all trickles down to fear, right? And so feel the fear and do it anyway. If feel the fear and do it anyway was a thing, I would tell you that today. Feel the fear and do it anyway, because if you don't, you are going to regret not socializing, not going into different environments that can potentially help you grow, staying out of church because you have a disability. I did that for a little bit, and then here I am. I came to New Season and I jumped in, right? And so again, community, because I was embraced, because community, because I was felt supported, And that's all we need, is to feel supported in order to come out of our shell and embrace who we truly are. And so if anyone is going through anything like that, talk about it, have that conversation, be of support to one another in your family dynamic. Definitely seek counseling, support in our community, church, do life with people, do life in community. Do not do life alone. Whatever you do, do not do life alone. Reach out to me, call me. I'll be a piece of your community and help you along the way with information, resources, and anything that I can to make sure that you live your life to the best of your ability with what has been handed to you in this life. So thank you guys so much for joining. I hope that this talk was a positive exchange to you and that you got something out of it. You can always go back after the show and listen to it and just take nuggets with you and share it with others that you might know that are going through similar situations, that have a diagnosis, a disability, maybe a loss, maybe anything at all. And if they can take out one thing from this talk today, then you have helped someone. And Yes with Yesse did its job this evening. So thank you everyone so much for joining. I love your support and your interaction. Sister Annette, thank you. Sister Millie, thank you. Avery, thank you so much. Angela, thank you so much. And everyone else that is on there, thank you for interacting. If you ever need anything, you have a question, comments, concern, Yes with Yesse. Yes with Yesse, just like the show. yeswithyesse.com. All things community, information, resources, disability services, you name it. And so, and virtual as well. So yeswithyesse.com. And you can also visit a new site, DPT Management, Disability Programs Training, dptmanagement.org. Thank you everyone so much for joining here on Yes with Yesse, courtesy of New Season Gospel FM and New Season Worship Center. I want to invite you to support our station, support New Season Gospel FM, because we are here because of your support. The ways to give are scrolling down the screen. Of course, Cash App, $ New Season WC, Zelle, 954-536-1821. You can give right on the website, newseasonfm.com, and you can give via PayPal. So there's multiple ways to give, and you can always send in a check. That is more than welcome as well. And you can mail it to New Season Worship Center, 4660 North University Drive, Lauderhill, Florida, 33319. And if you're like, oh my goodness, that was too much, just go right on the website again, newseasonfm.com. And remember, you can listen to New Season Gospel FM 24/7 on newseasonfm.com. And if you have your smart device and all that good stuff, remember we are on Alexa, and tell Alexa just to play New Season FM, and she will. I love it, from the comfort of my own room. It's really cool, and we're with you 24/7. So on that note, thank you everyone so much for joining. I look forward to being with you guys again next week on another episode of Yes with Yesse. Remember to share the broadcast, let others know that we are here, and for all things community, welcome to New Season Worship Center. We invite you to join us on Sunday for our weekly service here, 4660 North University Drive, Lauderhill, Florida, 33319. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning, first thing in the morning, in His presence, followed by the Pastor Steve Show on this fun Friday, and then midday prayer with Minister UC at noontime. And again, I will join you next week, God's willing, on another episode of Yes with Yesse. So to take us out really quick, one last song. Take a moment to continue to share, even if we're at the end. Share the broadcast, let others know that we are here. And I look forward to seeing you next week on Yes with Yesse.